Fundamental techniques in handling people. 1. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. When interacting with others, the way we express our opinions and concerns can significantly impact relationships. Criticism, condemnation, and complaints often backfire, creating resentment and defensiveness rather than fostering cooperation and understanding. The key to handling people effectively lies in our ability to control these negative impulses and focus on more constructive approaches. Criticism is like a double-edged sword. It may seem justified, but it usually leads to hurt feelings, damaged relationships, and resistance to change. When we criticize, we attack someone's character or actions, which often makes the person feel attacked and less willing to cooperate. Instead of bringing about positive change, criticism usually causes people to become defensive, making them more likely to resist our suggestions or demands. Condemnation, which involves passing harsh judgment on others, is equally damaging. When we condemn someone, we position ourselves as superior, implying that the other person is inherently flawed or unworthy. This approach not only alienates the person but also shuts down any possibility of a meaningful dialogue. The moment we condemn someone, we lose the opportunity to influence them positively. Complaining is another counterproductive behavior. While it may feel good to vent our frustrations, complaining seldom leads to solutions. Instead, it reinforces a negative mindset and spreads negativity to those around us. Complaining focuses on problems rather than solutions and can create an environment of pessimism and dissatisfaction. So, what should we do instead of criticizing, condemning, or complaining? The answer lies in understanding others' perspectives before making judgments. By putting ourselves in someone else's shoes, we can gain insight into their motivations, challenges, and feelings. This empathy allows us to approach situations with compassion and understanding rather than harsh judgment. When we take the time to understand others, we often discover that their actions, while perhaps misguided or mistaken, are rooted in understandable desires or fears. This understanding allows us to address the underlying issues rather than simply reacting to the surface behavior. By approaching situations with empathy and an open mind, we can communicate more effectively, foster collaboration, and encourage positive change. 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Appreciation is a powerful tool for building and maintaining relationships. It is the antidote to criticism and condemnation, creating a positive atmosphere that encourages cooperation, loyalty, and mutual respect. However, for appreciation to be effective, it must be honest and sincere. Empty flattery or insincere praise can do more harm than good, as people can usually sense when compliments are not genuine. Honest appreciation means recognizing and valuing the efforts, contributions, and qualities of others. It involves acknowledging the good in people and expressing gratitude for the things they do well. When we give honest appreciation, we reinforce positive behavior and encourage people to continue doing their best. Sincere appreciation goes beyond surface-level praise. It involves taking the time to notice and acknowledge the specific actions or qualities that deserve recognition. Instead of offering generic compliments, we should be specific about what we appreciate and why. This specificity shows that we are paying attention and that our appreciation is genuine. For example, instead of saying, "You did a great job," we might say, "I really appreciate the extra effort you put into finishing that project ahead of schedule. Your dedication made a big difference." This kind of appreciation is meaningful because it highlights a specific behavior and its positive impact. Appreciation should also be timely. The sooner we express our gratitude, the more impactful it is. When someone does something worthy of appreciation, we should acknowledge it as soon as possible. This immediacy shows that we are aware of their efforts and that we value their contributions. Another important aspect of appreciation is that it should be given freely, without expecting anything in return. When we give appreciation with the expectation of getting something back, it becomes transactional rather than genuine. True appreciation is a selfless act that seeks to uplift and encourage others. The power of honest and sincere appreciation cannot be overstated. It has the ability to transform relationships, boost morale, and create a positive environment where people feel valued and motivated. By making appreciation a habit, we can build stronger connections with others and foster a culture of mutual respect and encouragement. 3. Arouse in the other person an eager want. One of the most effective ways to influence others is by appealing to their desires and interests. When we can align our goals with what others want, we create a win-win situation where both parties are motivated to work together. This approach requires us to shift our focus from what we want to what the other person wants. People are naturally driven by their own desires and motivations. Whether it's the desire for success, recognition, security, or happiness, everyone has something they want. To influence someone effectively, we need to identify what that person values and find a way to connect our goals with their desires. The key to arousing an eager want in others is to frame our requests or suggestions in a way that resonates with their interests. Instead of trying to persuade someone by focusing on our own needs or desires, we should present our ideas in a way that highlights the benefits for the other person. By showing them how our proposal can help them achieve their own goals, we make it more appealing and increase the likelihood of their cooperation. For example, if we want to persuade a colleague to take on a challenging project, we might emphasize how the project could enhance their skills, boost their reputation, or lead to a promotion. By aligning the project with their personal goals, we make it more attractive and motivate them to take on the challenge. This approach also involves active listening and empathy. We need to listen carefully to understand what the other person wants and what drives them. This understanding allows us to tailor our approach and communicate in a way that speaks to their interests. It's also important to be genuine in our efforts to align our goals with others' desires. If we come across as manipulative or insincere, people will quickly lose trust in us. True influence is built on trust and mutual respect, so we must ensure that our intentions are honest and that we genuinely want to help the other person achieve their goals. When we arouse an eager want in others, we create a sense of enthusiasm and motivation. People are more likely to engage in tasks or agree to proposals when they see a clear benefit for themselves. By tapping into their desires, we can inspire action and foster collaboration. This technique is particularly powerful because it transforms the dynamic from one of coercion or obligation to one of mutual benefit. When people feel that they are working towards something they want, they are more likely to be committed, enthusiastic, and willing to go the extra mile. In summary, the fundamental techniques in handling people revolve around understanding human nature and leveraging empathy, appreciation, and motivation to build strong, positive relationships. By avoiding criticism, giving honest appreciation, and appealing to others' desires, we can create an environment of cooperation, respect, and mutual benefit. These techniques not only help us influence others more effectively, but also contribute to a more harmonious and productive society. By incorporating these principles into our daily interactions, we can enhance our personal and professional relationships, inspire positive change, and achieve our goals while also helping others achieve theirs. The essence of effective communication and leadership lies in our ability to connect with others on a human level, and these techniques provide a solid foundation for doing just that. 6 ways to make people like you. 1. Become genuinely interested in other people. In a world where everyone is vying for attention, one of the most powerful ways to stand out is by showing genuine interest in others. People are naturally drawn to those who show curiosity about their lives, thoughts, and feelings. This kind of interest goes beyond surface-level engagement. It requires a sincere effort to understand and connect with others on a deeper level. When you show real interest in someone, you communicate that they are valued and important. This validation can be incredibly impactful because it touches on a fundamental human need, the need to feel recognized and appreciated. Genuine interest fosters a sense of connection and trust, which is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. To become genuinely interested in others, start by asking thoughtful questions. Instead of making the conversation about yourself, focus on learning more about the other person. Ask about their experiences, opinions, and aspirations. Listen carefully to their responses and ask follow-up questions that show you are paying attention and care about what they have to say. It's also important to approach conversations with an open mind. Be curious, not judgmental. Everyone has a unique perspective shaped by their experiences, and there is always something valuable to learn from others. By being open to new ideas and viewpoints, you not only deepen your understanding of the person, but also enrich your own knowledge and perspective. Showing interest in others also means being present in the moment. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get distracted by technology or other concerns. However, when you are engaging with someone, make an effort to put away distractions and focus entirely on the interaction. This presence demonstrates respect and consideration, making the other person feel truly heard and valued. Lastly, remember that genuine interest cannot be faked. People can usually tell when someone is only pretending to care. To build authentic relationships, your interest must come from a place of sincerity. When you truly care about others, it shows in your actions, words, and demeanor, making you someone people naturally like and trust. 2. Smile. A smile is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools in human interaction. It's a universal gesture that transcends language and cultural barriers, instantly conveying warmth, friendliness, and approachability. A genuine smile can brighten someone's day, ease tension, and create a positive atmosphere in any situation. Smiling is often underestimated because it seems so basic. However, its impact on social interactions is profound. When you smile at someone, you're sending a signal that you are open, kind, and non-threatening. This makes it easier for others to approach you, engage in conversation, and feel comfortable in your presence. Moreover, smiling is contagious. When you smile at someone, they are likely to smile back, creating a ripple effect of positivity. This exchange can set the tone for the entire interaction, making it more pleasant and productive. A smile can also help to diffuse potentially tense situations by introducing a touch of warmth and humanity. But for a smile to be effective, it must be genuine. People can easily distinguish between a real smile and a forced one. A genuine smile comes from a place of authentic joy, warmth, or kindness, and it's reflected not just in your mouth but in your eyes and overall expression. When you smile sincerely, it shows that you are happy to see the other person and that you value their presence. Smiling is also beneficial for you. Research shows that the act of smiling can boost your mood, reduce stress, and even improve your health. When you make a habit of smiling, you create a positive feedback loop that enhances your own well-being while also making you more likable to others. In social interactions, a smile is like an invitation. It invites others to connect with you and sets the stage for a positive, friendly exchange. Whether you're meeting someone new, greeting an old friend, or navigating a challenging conversation, a smile can go a long way in making the interaction successful. 3. Remember that a person's name is, to that person, the sweetest sound. A person's name is a fundamental part of their identity. It's something they've heard all their lives, and it's deeply personal to them. When you remember and use someone's name in conversation, you acknowledge their individuality and show that you see them as a unique person, not just another face in the crowd. Using someone's name in conversation can have a powerful effect. It creates a sense of familiarity and connection, making the interaction more personal and meaningful. When you address someone by their name, you're essentially saying, "I see you, I recognize you, and you matter to me." This simple act can make the other person feel valued and respected. However, remembering names doesn't come naturally to everyone. It's a skill that requires attention and practice. To improve your ability to remember names, try these techniques. Pay attention. When introduced, when you first meet someone, make a conscious effort to focus on their name. Repeat it in your mind and try to use it in conversation as soon as possible. Associate the name with something memorable. Create a mental association between the person's name and something unique about them, whether it's their appearance, occupation, or a shared interest. Repeat the name during the conversation. Use the person's name a few times during the conversation. This not only helps reinforce your memory, but also makes the interaction more personal. Write it down. If appropriate, Jot down the person's name after the conversation, along with any details that will help you remember them in the future. The effort you put into remembering and using someone's name will pay off in stronger, more positive relationships. People appreciate when others take the time to remember their names, and it can be a key factor in making a lasting impression. 4. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Listening is one of the most important skills in communication, yet it's often the most neglected. Many people are so focused on what they want to say next that they forget to truly listen to the person they're speaking with. However, being a good listener can make a significant difference in how others perceive you and how well you connect with them. When you listen to someone, you give them a precious gift, your full attention. In a world where everyone is eager to be heard, being someone who listens sets you apart. It shows that you respect the other person's thoughts and opinions, and that you care about what they have to say. Good listening goes beyond simply hearing the words someone is saying. It involves understanding the underlying emotions, intentions, and meanings behind those words. This requires active engagement, such as nodding, making eye contact, and providing verbal cues like, "I see," or "That's interesting." These signals show that you are fully present and involved in the conversation. Encouraging others to talk about themselves is a natural extension of good listening. People love to share their experiences, ideas, and feelings, especially when they feel that the other person is genuinely interested. By asking open-ended questions and giving the other person space to speak, you allow them to express themselves fully, which can be incredibly satisfying for them. When you let others talk about themselves, you also gain valuable insights into their personality, values, and motivations. This information can help you build a deeper connection and understand how to better interact with them in the future. Moreover, when people talk about themselves, they often feel more positive about the interaction and, by extension, about you. This can lead to stronger relationships and increased likability. Being a good listener doesn't just make you more likable, it also helps you learn more about others, which can enhance your communication and interpersonal skills. 5. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. People are naturally more engaged and responsive when the conversation revolves around topics they are interested in. By aligning your conversation with the other person's interests, you create a connection and keep them engaged. This strategy requires you to step out of your own preferences and focus on what excites or matters to the other person. To do this effectively, you need to be observant and attentive. Pay attention to the cues the other person gives about their interests. These could be things they mention frequently, activities they enjoy, or topics that seem to spark their enthusiasm. Once you've identified their interests, steer the conversation in that direction. Talking in terms of the other person's interests is not about manipulating the conversation. It's about showing respect and consideration for what matters to them. It demonstrates that you value their passions and are willing to engage with them on topics they care about. This approach makes the other person feel understood and appreciated, which fosters a stronger bond. For example, if you know that someone is passionate about travel, you might ask them about their favorite destinations or future travel plans. If they are interested in a particular hobby, you could inquire about their experiences or share related information. The key is to make the conversation relevant and engaging for the other person. This technique is especially effective in professional settings. Whether you're networking, negotiating, or collaborating on a project, talking in terms of the other person's interests can help build rapport and make the interaction more productive. When people feel that you understand and respect their interests, they are more likely to be open, cooperative, and supportive. 6. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. Everyone wants to feel important. It's a fundamental human need that drives much of our behavior. When you make someone feel important, you validate their worth and significance, which can have a profound impact on their self-esteem and how they perceive you. However, it's crucial to make others feel important in a genuine and sincere way. Insincere flattery or empty praise can come across as manipulative and can damage trust. The goal is not to inflate someone's ego, but to recognize and acknowledge their true value. One way to make others feel important is by recognizing their contributions, talents, or qualities. Whether it's at work, in social settings, or within your family, take the time to notice and acknowledge what others do well. Compliment their efforts, celebrate their successes, and express gratitude for their help or support. Another approach is to involve others in decisions or ask for their opinions. When you seek someone's input, you show that you value their judgment and expertise. This not only makes them feel important, but also empowers them to contribute more actively to the conversation or project. Being respectful and considerate also makes others feel important. Simple gestures like listening attentively, addressing them by name, and showing appreciation for their time and effort all contribute to making someone feel valued. Lastly, be genuine in your interactions. People can sense authenticity, and when you sincerely care about making others feel important, it will be reflected in your words and actions. This sincerity builds trust and strengthens relationships, making you someone that others naturally like and respect. How to win people to your way of thinking. 1. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Arguments, by nature, often escalate tensions, create divisions, and leave lasting resentments. When two people engage in a heated debate, the focus tends to shift from finding a solution to winning the argument. This shift in focus can lead to a situation where neither party is willing to back down, resulting in a standoff that benefits no one. Instead of arguing, a more constructive approach is to seek common ground. When you find areas of agreement with the other person, you open the door to a more collaborative conversation. This doesn't mean you should abandon your perspective or compromise your principles, but rather, you should aim to understand the other person's point of view and build from there. Avoiding arguments doesn't mean avoiding difficult conversations. It's about changing the way you approach them. Instead of confronting someone head-on, try to steer the conversation towards mutual understanding. Ask questions to clarify their viewpoint and express your thoughts in a way that acknowledges their perspective. This approach reduces defensiveness and makes it easier to find a solution that works for both parties. When you avoid arguments and instead focus on dialogue, you create an environment where cooperation can flourish. This not only leads to better outcomes, but also strengthens your relationships, as people appreciate when you respect their opinions and work towards harmony rather than conflict. 2. Show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong. One of the quickest ways to shut down a conversation and alienate someone is to bluntly tell them they're wrong. No one likes to feel disrespected or dismissed, and when you challenge someone's beliefs in this way, you put them on the defensive. They are likely to dig in their heels and become even more entrenched in their position, making it nearly impossible to reach a productive resolution. Instead of directly contradicting someone, approach disagreements with tact and respect. Start by acknowledging their viewpoint, even if you don't agree with it. You might say something like, "I understand why you might feel that way," or "That's an interesting perspective." By doing this, you show that you respect their right to have an opinion, which can lower their defenses and open the door to a more constructive discussion. When you do need to express disagreement, do so gently and with humility. Use phrases like, "I see it differently," or "Have you considered?" These statements allow you to present your viewpoint without attacking theirs. By focusing on the issue rather than the person, you keep the conversation civil and respectful. Showing respect for others' opinions is about more than just avoiding conflict. It's about building trust and rapport. When people feel respected, they are more likely to listen to what you have to say and consider your perspective. This can lead to more meaningful and productive conversations where both parties feel heard and valued. 3. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Admitting when you're wrong is one of the most powerful ways to build trust and credibility. It takes courage to own up to a mistake, especially when it's easier to deflect blame or make excuses. However, when you acknowledge your errors openly and without hesitation, you demonstrate integrity and humility. Admitting your mistakes quickly and emphatically has several benefits. First, it diffuses potential conflicts before they escalate. When you acknowledge your fault, you take the wind out of the sails of any potential argument. The other person is likely to appreciate your honesty and may even respect you more for it. Second, Admitting your mistakes helps to repair any damage caused by your error. When you own up to a mistake, you can begin the process of making amends and finding a solution. This proactive approach shows that you are committed to doing the right thing, even when it's difficult. Finally, admitting your mistakes sets a positive example for others. It encourages a culture of transparency and accountability, where people feel safe to acknowledge their own errors without fear of judgment. This can lead to a more open and collaborative environment, where people work together to find solutions rather than pointing fingers. In the end, everyone makes mistakes. What matters is how you respond to them. By admitting your errors quickly and emphatically, you demonstrate that you value honesty and are committed to learning and growing from your experiences. 4. Begin in a friendly way. The tone you set at the beginning of a conversation often determines how it will unfold. Starting a conversation in a friendly and positive manner can make a significant difference in the outcome. When you approach someone with kindness and warmth, you create an atmosphere of goodwill that makes it easier to resolve differences and reach agreements. A friendly approach disarms tension and puts the other person at ease. It signals that you are not there to confront or challenge them, but to engage in a constructive dialogue. This can be especially important in situations where there is potential for conflict. By beginning with a smile, a warm greeting, or a compliment, you can set a positive tone that encourages cooperation. Being friendly doesn't mean you have to agree with everything the other person says or avoid addressing difficult issues. It simply means approaching the conversation with a positive attitude and a willingness to listen and understand. When you start in a friendly way, you lay the groundwork for a more productive and amicable discussion. In many cases, a friendly demeanor can even turn a potentially adversarial situation into a collaborative one. People are more likely to respond positively to someone who is kind and respectful, which can lead to better outcomes for both parties. 5. Get the other person saying yes, yes immediately. One effective way to build momentum in a conversation is to get the other person to agree with you early on. When someone starts by saying yes to a few initial points, they are more likely to continue agreeing as the conversation progresses. This technique, often referred to as the yes ladder, can help you guide the conversation towards a favorable outcome. To use this approach, start by identifying areas of common ground. These are points that the other person is likely to agree with because they are either self-evident or align with their own beliefs and values. By focusing on these points first, you create a series of small agreements that build a sense of collaboration and mutual understanding. As the conversation progresses, you can introduce more complex or contentious issues, but because the other person is already in the habit of agreeing with you, they are more likely to remain open and receptive. The key is to lead them towards a conclusion that benefits both parties without making them feel manipulated or coerced. Getting the other person to say yes early and often helps to build rapport and establish a positive rhythm in the conversation. It also makes it easier to navigate disagreements, as the other person is more likely to trust your intentions and be willing to consider your perspective. 6. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking. People love to talk about themselves, their experiences, and their ideas. When you allow someone to do most of the talking in a conversation, you give them the opportunity to express themselves fully, which can be incredibly satisfying for them. This approach also has the added benefit of giving you valuable insights into their thoughts, feelings, and motivations. Encouraging the other person to talk accomplishes several things. First, it makes them feel valued and important. When you listen attentively and give them space to share their thoughts, you show that you respect their opinions and are genuinely interested in what they have to say. Second, letting the other person talk helps you understand their perspective more deeply. By listening carefully, you can pick up on the nuances of their position, which can be useful in finding common ground or resolving disagreements. This deeper understanding also allows you to tailor your responses in a way that resonates with them, increasing the likelihood of a positive outcome. Finally, when the other person does most of the talking, it gives you time to think and formulate your own thoughts more clearly. Instead of rushing to respond, you can take the time to consider their points and craft a well-thought-out reply. This can lead to more thoughtful and effective communication. In any conversation, Aim to listen more than you speak. Ask open-ended questions that encourage the other person to elaborate and show genuine interest in their responses. By letting the other person do a great deal of the talking, you create a more balanced and engaging conversation that leaves both parties feeling heard and understood. 7. Let the other person feel that the idea is theirs. People are more committed to ideas and plans when they feel a sense of ownership over them. One effective way to win people to your way of thinking is to let them believe that the idea is theirs, or at least that they played a significant role in shaping it. When people feel that they have contributed to an idea, they are more likely to support it and work towards its success. To achieve this, involve the other person in the decision-making process. Instead of presenting your idea as a finished product, frame it as a concept that needs input and refinement. Ask for their thoughts, suggestions, and feedback, and incorporate their ideas into the final plan. This collaborative approach makes the other person feel that their contributions are valued and that they have a stake in the outcome. Even if the idea originated with you, find ways to give the other person credit for its development. You might say, "I hadn't thought of it that way until you mentioned," or "Your suggestion really helped improve this." These statements not only acknowledge their input, but also reinforce their sense of ownership. By letting others feel that the idea is theirs, you create a sense of partnership and shared purpose. This can lead to greater buy-in and enthusiasm, as people are naturally more motivated to support something they feel they helped create. 8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Empathy is one of the most powerful tools for influencing others. When you make a genuine effort to see things from the other person's point of view, you not only gain a deeper understanding of their perspective, but also show that you care about their feelings and concerns. This can be incredibly disarming and can help to break down barriers to communication. To see things from the other person's perspective, try to put yourself in their shoes. Consider their background, experiences, and motivations, and how these might shape their views. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I were in their situation? This exercise can help you to better understand their needs and desires, which is essential for finding common ground. When you demonstrate empathy, you create a connection based on mutual understanding and respect. The other person is likely to appreciate your efforts to understand them and may be more willing to consider your point of view in return. This can lead to more productive and cooperative conversations where both parties feel heard and valued. Empathy also helps to build trust. When people see that you are genuinely interested in their well-being and that you are trying to understand their perspective, they are more likely to trust your intentions and be open to your ideas. This trust is the foundation of any successful relationship, whether personal or professional. 9. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. Sympathy, like empathy, is about understanding and acknowledging the feelings of others. However, while empathy involves putting yourself in someone else's shoes, sympathy is more about expressing concern and support for their emotions. When you show sympathy for someone's ideas and desires, you validate their feelings and let them know that you care about their well-being. To be sympathetic, start by actively listening to what the other person is saying. Pay attention not only to their words, but also to their tone of voice and body language. These cues can give you insights into their emotional state and help you respond appropriately. Once you have a sense of how they are feeling, acknowledge their emotions with statements like, "I can see why you feel that way," or "That must be really challenging." These expressions of sympathy show that you are attuned to their needs and are willing to support them. Being sympathetic also means offering help or reassurance when appropriate. If someone is feeling uncertain or stressed, a few words of encouragement can go a long way in making them feel better. Even if you can't solve their problem, simply being there for them and showing that you care can make a big difference. Sympathy is a powerful way to connect with others on an emotional level. It shows that you are not only interested in their ideas, but also in their well-being. This emotional connection can strengthen your relationships and make others more receptive to your influence. 10. Appeal to the nobler motives. People like to think of themselves as being motivated by noble and virtuous reasons. When you appeal to these higher motives, you tap into their desire to do good and be seen as honorable. This can be a powerful way to influence others, as it aligns your request or suggestion with their self-image and values. To appeal to nobler motives, consider what the other person values most. Are they motivated by a sense of justice, a desire to help others, or a commitment to excellence? Once you have identified their core values, frame your request in a way that aligns with these values. For example, if someone values fairness, you might say, "This approach will ensure that everyone is treated equally." If they are driven by a desire to make a positive impact, you might highlight how your idea will benefit others. Appealing to nobler motives is not about manipulation. It's about finding a way to align your goals with the other person's values. When you can show that your idea or suggestion will help them achieve something they care deeply about, they are more likely to support it. This approach also has the added benefit of encouraging people to rise to the occasion. When you appeal to their better nature, you inspire them to act in ways that are consistent with their highest ideals. This not only helps you achieve your goals, but also reinforces their sense of integrity and purpose. 11. Dramatize your ideas. A well-presented idea can be more persuasive than one that is simply stated. Dramatizing your ideas means making them more vivid and engaging, so that they capture the other person's attention and leave a lasting impression. This can involve using stories, metaphors, or visual aids to bring your ideas to life. When you dramatize your ideas, you make them more memorable and impactful. For example, instead of just telling someone that a process is inefficient, you might illustrate the inefficiency with a dramatic comparison. Like, "Whoa, this process is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it." This metaphor not only conveys the idea more powerfully, but also makes it easier for the other person to understand and remember. Another way to dramatize your ideas is to use storytelling. People are naturally drawn to stories, and a well-told story can make your point more compelling. For example, if you are trying to convince someone to adopt a new approach, you might tell a story about how this approach led to success in a similar situation. The story not only illustrates your point, but also makes it more relatable and engaging. Dramatizing your ideas is about making them stand out and resonate with the other person. By presenting your ideas in a way that captures their imagination, you increase the likelihood that they will be persuaded and take action. 12. Throw down a challenge. Challenges can be powerful motivators. When you present someone with a challenge, you appeal to their sense of competition, pride, or ambition. This can inspire them to rise to the occasion and put in their best effort, especially if the challenge is framed in a way that aligns with their goals or values. To throw down a challenge, start by identifying what motivates the other person. Are they driven by a desire to achieve, to be recognized, or to surpass others? Once you understand what drives them, present a challenge that taps into this motivation. For example, if someone is motivated by achievement, you might challenge them to complete a task in record time or to exceed a previous benchmark. Challenges can also be framed as opportunities for growth or development. For example, you might challenge someone to take on a new responsibility that will stretch their skills and help them advance in their career. By framing the challenge as a chance to grow, you not only motivate them but also help them see the value in taking it on. When presenting a challenge, be sure to express confidence in the other person's ability to meet it. This vote of confidence can be incredibly motivating, as it shows that you believe in their potential. It also reinforces their own self-belief, making them more likely to take on the challenge and succeed. Throwing down a challenge is not about creating unnecessary competition or stress. It's about inspiring people to push themselves and achieve their best. When done correctly, it can lead to greater motivation, engagement, and success for everyone involved. Be a leader. How to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. 1. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. The way we approach giving feedback has a significant impact on how it is received. One of the most effective methods to ensure that feedback is taken constructively is to start with praise and honest appreciation. When you begin by acknowledging the positive aspects of someone's performance or behavior, you create a foundation of trust and goodwill. This approach softens the impact of any subsequent criticism and makes the person more receptive to your suggestions. Praise should be specific and genuine. Instead of offering generic compliments, highlight particular actions or qualities that you genuinely admire. For example, if you're providing feedback to a colleague, you might say, "I really appreciate the effort you put into the last project. Your attention to detail was impressive and made a significant difference in the outcome." By starting with sincere praise, you make the person feel valued and recognized, which can help them be more open to any areas where they might need to improve. This method is not about sugar-coating criticism, but about framing it in a way that emphasizes the positive aspects of a person's performance. When people feel appreciated, they are more likely to listen and take your feedback to heart. They are also more motivated to improve because they know that their efforts are noticed and valued. 2. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. When addressing someone's mistakes, direct confrontation can often lead to defensiveness and resistance. Instead, it can be more effective to call attention to mistakes in an indirect manner. This subtle approach allows the person to recognize the issue without feeling attacked or embarrassed. One way to do this is through example. You might share a similar experience where you made a mistake and learned from it, subtly drawing parallels to the current situation. For instance, you could say, "I remember when I was working on a similar task, I overlooked a key detail, and it caused some issues later on. It might be helpful to double-check that area to avoid any potential problems." By framing the feedback in this way, you gently guide the person towards recognizing the mistake and correcting it without causing them to feel defensive. Another technique is to ask questions that lead the person to identify the issue themselves. For example, you could ask, "How do you feel the project went? Is there anything you would have done differently?" These questions encourage self-reflection and allow the person to come to their own conclusions about what might need improvement. Indirect feedback is about guiding the person to see the mistake on their own, rather than pointing it out bluntly. This approach helps to maintain their dignity and makes them more likely to accept the feedback and make the necessary changes. 3. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. No one likes to feel criticized, especially if it comes from someone who seems to be above making mistakes themselves. One effective way to give feedback without causing resentment is to first talk about your own mistakes. By acknowledging your own shortcomings, you create an environment of mutual understanding and humility. When you share your own experiences of failure or error, it humanizes you and makes the other person feel less alone in their mistakes. For example, if you need to address an issue with a team member, you might say, "I've made similar mistakes in the past and it was a tough lesson for me. I found that doing X helps to avoid that problem." This approach not only softens the criticism, but also offers a solution based on your own experience. Talking about your own mistakes first also sets a tone of collaboration rather than confrontation. It shows that you're not there to judge but to help the other person improve, just as you have learned from your own experiences. This creates a more supportive atmosphere where feedback is seen as a tool for growth rather than as a personal attack. By sharing your own experiences, you demonstrate that everyone makes mistakes and that the focus should be on learning and improving rather than on the mistake itself. This approach fosters a culture of continuous improvement and mutual support. 4. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. People are more likely to take ownership of a task and perform it well when they feel they have a say in how it is done. Instead of giving direct orders, asking questions can be a more effective way to lead and inspire cooperation. This method encourages the person to think critically and come up with their own solutions, which can lead to better outcomes and a stronger sense of responsibility. For example, instead of saying, "You need to do this task by tomorrow," you could ask, "How do you think we can best complete this task by tomorrow?" This question invites the person to engage in the problem-solving process and to take an active role in deciding how to approach the task. It also shows that you value their input and trust their judgment. Asking questions also helps to uncover any potential obstacles or concerns that the person might have. It opens up a dialogue where they can express any difficulties they foresee, allowing you to address these issues together. For instance, you might ask, "What challenges do you think we might face in completing this task on time?" This not only helps in planning, but also builds a sense of teamwork and collaboration. When you ask questions instead of giving direct orders, you empower the other person to take control of the situation. This approach fosters independence, creativity, and a greater sense of ownership, which can lead to higher motivation and better performance. 5. Let the other person save face. One of the most important aspects of leadership is protecting the dignity of those you lead. When people make mistakes or fall short, it's crucial to handle the situation in a way that allows them to save face. This means addressing the issue without causing unnecessary embarrassment or humiliation. To help someone save face, focus on the issue at hand rather than on the person. Avoid making the situation personal or implying that their mistake defines them. For example, instead of saying, "You really messed up this project," you could say, "This project didn't turn out as we hoped. Let's figure out how we can improve it." This phrasing addresses the problem without attacking the person's character. Another way to help someone save face is to offer them a way to correct the mistake themselves. For example, you might say, "I think we can resolve this by making a few adjustments. Would you like to take the lead on that?" This gives the person an opportunity to fix the problem and restore their reputation, rather than feeling like they've failed completely. It's also important to handle these situations privately whenever possible. Publicly pointing out someone's mistakes can cause unnecessary embarrassment and damage their confidence. A private conversation allows you to address the issue while maintaining the person's dignity and self-respect. Letting someone save face is about showing respect and understanding, even in difficult situations. It helps to maintain positive relationships and encourages people to learn from their mistakes without feeling defeated. 6. Praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Positive reinforcement is one of the most powerful tools in a leader's arsenal. When you praise even the slightest improvement, you encourage continued progress and build the person's confidence. This approach not only motivates the individual, but also fosters a culture of continuous improvement within the team. It's important to be specific in your praise. Instead of offering vague compliments like, "Good job," highlight exactly what the person did well. For example, you might say, "I noticed that you've been more proactive in your communication this week. It's really helping the team stay on track." This specific feedback shows that you're paying attention to their efforts and that their contributions are making a difference. Consistent praise for improvement, no matter how small, creates a positive feedback loop. When people see that their efforts are recognized and appreciated, they are more likely to continue putting in the effort to improve. This can lead to a cumulative effect, where small improvements over time add up to significant progress. It's also important to praise improvement in a way that encourages the person to keep striving for more. Instead of making them feel like they've reached the pinnacle, frame your praise in a way that suggests that they are on a path of ongoing growth. For example, you could say, "You've made great strides in this area. I'm excited to see how you'll continue to develop your skills." This type of encouragement reinforces the idea that improvement is a continuous process and that their potential is limitless. By praising every improvement, you create an environment where people feel valued and motivated to keep growing. This not only enhances individual performance, but also contributes to the overall success of the team or organization. 7. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. One of the most effective ways to inspire people to do their best is to give them a positive reputation to live up to. When you express confidence in someone's abilities and set high expectations, you challenge them to rise to the occasion and fulfill that image. To give someone a fine reputation, start by identifying their strengths and potential, then communicate your belief in their abilities in a way that makes them feel proud and motivated to live up to that image. For example, you might say, "You've always been known for your attention to detail. I'm confident that you'll excel in this project because of that strength." This statement not only highlights their skill, but also sets a standard for them to maintain. This approach works because people naturally want to meet the expectations of those they respect. When you give someone a positive reputation, they are likely to put in the extra effort to uphold that image. It also boosts their self-esteem, as they see that others recognize and value their abilities. However, it's important to ensure that the reputation you give is realistic and achievable. If the expectations are too high, it can lead to stress and disappointment. The goal is to challenge the person while also providing them with the support and resources they need to succeed. By giving someone a fine reputation to live up to, you empower them to strive for excellence. This approach not only benefits the individual, but also contributes to the overall success and morale of the team. 8. Use encouragement. Make the fault seem easy to correct. Encouragement is a powerful motivator, especially when someone is struggling with a fault or challenge. When you make the fault seem easy to correct, you reduce the person's anxiety and help them feel more capable of overcoming the issue. This approach not only boosts their confidence, but also makes them more willing to take the necessary steps to improve. To use encouragement effectively, focus on the person's strengths and past successes. Remind them of times when they've successfully overcome challenges and draw parallels to the current situation. For example, you might say, "I know you've tackled similar issues before and come out on top. This is just another hurdle, and I'm confident you can handle it." This type of encouragement helps the person see the fault as a manageable challenge rather than an insurmountable problem. It's also important to break down the issue into smaller, more manageable steps. When people see a clear path forward, they are more likely to take action. For example, instead of saying, "You need to improve your communication skills," you could say, "Let's start by focusing on one specific area of communication, like active listening. Once you've got that down, we can build on it from there." This approach makes the fault seem easier to correct and gives the person a clear starting point. Encouragement, combined with a clear plan for improvement, can turn a daunting challenge into a manageable task. This not only helps the person to correct the fault, but also builds their confidence and resilience. 9. Make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. One of the keys to effective leadership is to inspire enthusiasm and willingness in others. When people are happy about doing the thing you suggest, they are more likely to put in their best effort and achieve positive results. This can be achieved by aligning the task with their interests and showing them the benefits of taking action. To make someone happy about doing what you suggest, start by understanding their motivations and interests. What drives them? What are their goals? Once you have a clear understanding, frame the task in a way that aligns with these motivations. For example, if someone is motivated by career growth, you might say, "Taking on this project will give you great experience and help you develop the skills you need for that promotion." This approach shows the person how the task will benefit them, making them more eager to take it on. Another way to inspire enthusiasm is to involve the person in the decision-making process. When people feel that they have a say in how something is done, they are more likely to be invested in the outcome. For example, you could say, "I'd love your input on how we can approach this task. What do you think would work best?" This not only makes them feel valued, but also gives them a sense of ownership over the task. It's also important to express confidence in the person's ability to succeed. A few words of encouragement, such as, "I know you'll do a great job," can go a long way in boosting their enthusiasm and motivation. Finally, recognize and celebrate their efforts and achievements along the way. When people see that their hard work is appreciated, they are more likely to feel happy about taking on future tasks. By making others happy about doing what you suggest, you create a positive and motivated team that is eager to contribute to shared goals. This approach not only leads to better outcomes, but also fosters a culture of enthusiasm, cooperation, and mutual respect.